Hello, my guys. This is Abigail with the astrology and tarot for the new moon in Aries. This new moon is on the 17th at 6:51 a.m. and it's a spicy one. It is a lot. There are so many planets in Aries for this lunation. We have the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, planetoid Chiron that's been in Aries for a minute now. And all of this energy is focused in this one place in our charts, in this one place in the sky. Also, 2 days later, on the 19th, we have the Saturn Mars conjunction that will be very quickly followed by the Saturn Mercury conjunction. So, this moment, this lunation, this event is big. It's at 27 degrees of Aries. It is pretty much exactly conjunct Chiron. And Chiron is one hair. Sorry, guys. My ADHD got the better of me. And Chiron is pretty much the only thing this new moon is touching. There is a little bit of an adjacency and a square, a very loose square with Jupiter, but it's not tight enough for me to see it having a huge impact. If anything, it's just echoes from, the Libra new moon and the Pisces full moon, because both of those had trines. Well, they had a square to Jupiter and a trine to Jupiter, a lot happening. And I think if we look at it from the Jupiterian lens, it is kind of like the finalizing of these moments. This is also, the first full moon of this zodiac year. It just feels like a lot. It's going to be a lot. We're going to be building through the week into this moment. And then it's not really going to fully dissipate until we get into May to that full moon in Scorpio. So just know that this is a really impactful lunar moment. Check what's going on in your chart. While it is not conjunct the Saturn Mars conjunction, it's such a big moment that, of course, it's going to kind of reverberate off of it. But I also think at the same time, this is a beautiful moment of coming home to self, because Aries is about initiation. It is about kind of the innate self. Whereas Leo is kind of like the self that exists out in the world. Aries is the spark of life. Aries is like what causes us to breathe, what keeps us going and motivated when the externals aren't really giving us anything. And its conjunction with Chiron to me really feels like a moment of like really seeing the progress we've made when it comes to trauma, when it comes to pain, when it comes for the advocating of ourselves. Chiron is also in June going to be moving into Taurus for the first time. In September, it will get retrograde back into Aries, and then almost exactly just off by 3 days um, from this lunation a year, on the 14th, it'll go back into Taurus. But what I see this new moon as is kind of this moment of being like, look at what I've done. Look at the growth. Look at the ways in which I've advocated for myself. Look at the ways in which I have taken my pain and done what I can with it. I think this is also a moment, even with the energy of Aries, to also see where other people have come in. It's also very specific to your chart. Like I always say, please go check where this is in your chart. What house is Aries in? Because it'll really help give you some perspective. And if you don't know, you can book a reading with moi, or you can go look it up online, whatever you prefer, or get another astrologer. Anyways, so this is kind of a weird moment where we are going to feel raw, we're going to feel pain, we're going to sense loss. We are also going to probably be brought back to some childhood pain, because a lot of chironic themes start very young. Um, these are the wounds that are so deep and so long lasting that we cannot heal them. And so it's bittersweet. We get to see how through this Chiron Aries transit, we have advocated for ourselves. We have demanded more. We have refused to let other people continue to harm us over and over again. But then also we get to look and see what we have lost. We get to look and see that, things are passing away, that, we have us standing up for ourselves and us becoming more ourselves has caused other people who do not have capacity or refuse to face their own Chiron wounds, were not able to participate and join us. And so there is an interesting element of like grief and victory and sadness and celebration. It's almost like Well, in like the theme of Mars, um, it's like what happens after a battle when if you've won. There's still losses. There's still injuries and casualties and loss, but you won the battle. And I think the battle that you've won is a part of winning a war to advocate for ourselves, a war to make the world a better place, a war to create safety and comfort and to minimize the wounds of Chiron for those around us. Also important to note, the ruler Mars is conjunct Saturn, and so their restriction is big. Restriction is loud. You know, Mercury is not that far behind, and so the communication around this. Also, it's important to note that this is a Mars new moon, and we will have a Mars full moon on May 1st. And that one is the Scorpio one. And when I looked at the chart, guess where Mercury is? Exactly conjunct Chiron. So know that there's also a very clear line between these two moments. It doesn't always happen with full moons, but full and new moons, or just the lunar events in general. But I've noticed, especially this year, between axes. So, like, the axes of Aries and Libra, the axes of Scorpio and Taurus. With the Libra full moon, we had the axes of Virgo and Pisces interacting with that not Saturn, Jupiter square. There we go, words. Jupiter square. And so there is going to be a lot of follow through. And I think the kind of bittersweet moments that we get to face now might actually end up in some interesting conversations on May 1st. Uh, you might see some people who have you thought exited completely coming back in and maybe offering some restitution. Um, you know, this that full moon is going to be squared Pluto, um, and Pluto has a 10-degree orb, unfortunately. So square Pluto. Uh, so there is an element of kind of voices from the past coming back, but this specific moment is going to feel very isolated. It's going to be very much like, oh, and now that person doesn't talk to me, and now that person doesn't talk to me. You know, I had to set boundaries with that person, and they were like, oh, how dare you set boundaries with me? No, and and now I'm alone. And I do think for some of us, we will be questioning if it was worth the cost. And I will say this, it is. You are going to hit that full moon in Scorpio, and it will have been worth the cost. I also think some really lovely stuff is going to come in on the 16th of May with the new moon in Taurus. But when we're dealing with Martian topics, especially with how uh, intense everything is in Aries, uh, we do have to deal with the struggle, with the cutting, with the removal of things, with violence. And also with Chiron and Aries, it's also how people have perpetrated violence against the self, either themselves or the self that lives in others. And so this is a really psychological new moon. This is a really potent grief heavy new moon, but it's also kind of like I'm getting like an image from spirit of like a bloodied figure on top of like, well, a pile of corpses. And like being victorious but having lost so much, having witnessed so much destruction and having had to participate in a certain measure of destruction. And so yeah, there is an element of pain, and there is an element of, was it worth it? Did the boundaries and the self-advocating I do, did it turn the world against me? Did it take away friendships and lovers and partners and family? And the truth is that I think is going to really be kind of brought forward once we get to the full moon in 2 weeks, is that you would have lost them anyways. Those people were never for you. If they were actively triggering your Chiron wound, if they were actively participating in your suffering and the dismantling of your sense of self, then they were never for you. They never really loved you. They maybe loved what you could give them. They maybe loved the idea of who you were. If you're a part of a really toxic family system, they might have loved who you were in the family system. And once you were like, hey, I'm not participating in the family system, they were like, no, I don't want you. I also don't know who this persona is of like the sarcastic, no, but we'll let it flow. Welcome, whoever you are. No, you're not who I thought you were. And it's like, well, who you're thinking that I am is like an abused 10-year-old. And I'm an adult now who has processed my abuse, and I'm not willing to participate in it anymore. I also think for some of us, depending on where this is in the chart, it is very much like having to face a family system, having to face the ways in which um, our families have failed us, the ways in which we are expected to behave a certain way because we have been forced into a role that doesn't belong to us. Because Aries is about individuation. I don't believe it's about individualism because Aries is also so deeply interconnected with everything. It's to me, it's one of the most interconnected signs. Um, but it individuates. It delineates who we are within a system, which then creates the individual us. And so, yeah, it's going to be hard. We're going to have to face these hard topics around family, these hard topics around abuse, the ways in which we defended ourselves. Also, if we kind of look at the themes of the past, several years when it comes to victims coming forward and victims speaking out for themselves, you know, Aries and Chiron is that person standing up and saying, I will not be silent anymore. And then the collective um, trying to shut them up. While like the sub collective, which is technically more the collective, but we're often drowned out because of money, is like, no, let them speak, let them speak. And that's very much what this new moon is. So be prepared to have your wounding brought forward. Be prepared for if you are still in contact with people who like to poke at your Chiron wound or who are contributing to that wound to kind of bare their teeth, and you're going to have to set some pretty firm boundaries. I feel like a lot of people listening have already set those boundaries and are kind of in the loss of it all. Um, but just know that you have won the battle and you are going to win the war. And there are casualties in violence and in protecting ourselves, in defending who we are in a world that begets violence. And so do not doubt in this moment that you did the right thing. Now, you can grieve the sense of isolation. You can grieve feeling alone. You can grieve feeling at a loss. But um, I really think, especially over the summer, after this point, if you can say, I would rather be me and I would rather protect me and protect the people I love and to protect other victims than to bow the knee to a family system, to an abuse cycle, to a world that elevates predators and violent perpetrators. I think if you can stand strong on this new moon and in the full moon, which is going to bring up some really deep stuff, I think we're going to be coming into a time when a lot of us are going to find our soul families, find our found families, find our communities and our collectives, because it really does feel like earlier 2026 up until now has been a great purge of whoever was left over, anyone we were holding on to who was still hurting us. And if you're still kind of holding on, this is where they leave. And I would encourage you to allow them to go. You can always leave a door open that they can walk back in if they want to have healthy boundaries with you. But you are going to have to say no in order to kind of get what you deserve. Just so you're aware. You are going to have to risk loss in order to gain yourself. And that is the message of this new moon. Anyways, let's look at the cards. So normally I shuffle on here, but I was shuffling free and 3 cards fell out and I was like, oh, this is this new moon. So let's look at it. So starting off, we have the sun. This is about coming home to self. This is about shining our brightest. And a part about shining our brightest is about embracing all the different parts of who we are. And a part of who we are is our abuse and the ways in which we have been harmed. And for better or for worse, those things do define us. I hate it when people are like, don't let it define you. It's very much like telling a disabled person that they can overcome their disability through the power of the mind. No, you are. Maybe you don't feel like a victim now, but if you have been abused, you have been a victim. There's nothing wrong with being a victim. What's actually wrong? I hate it when people are like, oh no, don't be a victim. Shut it. Don't be a perpetrator. Why are you shaming someone for something they didn't have control over that someone did to them? And you're like, don't be a victim, but you're never going to mention the person who made them a victim. And so accepting those parts of self, being like, I accept the victim part, I accept the part of me that maybe became a perpetrator because I lashed out, but we don't do that again. We learn from our mistakes and from our lashing out. And I accept the parts of me that are powerful and strong, and the parts of me that are sad and feeling lost. I embrace the parts of me that feel empty because of the people that have had to leave my life. And then you get this beautiful, stunningly gorgeous sun card with this honestly adorable child. and glorious horse. I just personally just love this deck. It's the Lou Banco deck. And I think in this moment, there is a sense of overcoming. Do I think it's going to develop as we head towards the full moon in Scorpio? Yes. I don't think in this moment we are going to feel fully the sun. But this is what this is bringing up. So there is a sense of power. There is a sense of victory in this moment. We do have the Two of Swords. So there are choices to be made. We could choose to hang on to some old things. And if you do, no harm, no foul. Like people are ready to do the work and to remove certain people at a certain time. But this might be a moment where you're like, yeah, I know this is going to end. And that's kind of all you need to do is just recognize where things are headed. And some of us are absolutely going to be ripping off the band-aid. If you have any Aries placements, I see you. It's probably happening or already happened. But we do get to make a choice in this moment. We get to choose what we focus on. We get to choose who we reach out to, who we embrace. We get to choose to see all of the loss, which I think we should. I think it's healthy to recognize the loss, but I also would encourage you to not forget what you do have. And even if you have, excuse me, fewer friends and fewer connections, I think you'll notice that those connections are actually a lot stronger and you're able to be yourself. And so to me, it is more valuable to have a very few friends who truly value and love you for who you are than to have a lot of friends who see you as a shadow of who you are. And so, it is one of these moments. I do think it's interesting that we're kind of talking about parts of self. And if you notice, this figure is kind of half hiding. So there is an element of like not quite being able to accept. I do think the acceptance is coming over these 2 weeks. And I think when we hit that Scorpio full moon, there will be kind of a like, to hell with all of this. And being like, no, I am who I am and I deserve to be who I am. And whatever parts have and experiences have made me that way, it is what it is. But I also get to be a badass bitch at the same time because we do have the Emperor. That's why when I saw this, I was like, oh, clearly we're talking about this and I'm not going to shuffle anymore. We have the Emperor. It's time to take power. It's time to take the reins. If people have left you, good riddance. And maybe they'll come back. We don't know. And like I said, you don't have to like cut people off completely cold. You can leave a door open, but I would suggest the door has a key that they have to participate in. Such as like, oh, you have to like actually be nice to me. So, we're coming into a sense of power. We're coming into a sense of ourselves. I think by the time we hit the full moon in Libra season after the second set of eclipses, I do think we're going to be full sun emperor. This year is really developing a lot of us into like a really strong, potent, punchy, aggressive sense of self, which honestly, the times call for. Then we have, oh, yeah. Well, let's just pull all of these because these all seem important. So, 10 of Wands. Yeah, guys, it's going to be overwhelming. This new moon is overwhelming. The Saturn Mars conjunction, overwhelming. I'm not trying to minimize it, but it is just what it is. Take care of yourself. We also have this Eight of Cups, which is kind of what I was talking about when I was talking about the Two of Swords, about having choices, choosing to walk away. I also think that this Eight of Cups is letting other people walk away, letting other people make choices. Something a friend and I have been talking about a lot is scaffolding, which is where you kind of build systems for people to love you. You make it easy for them to love you. You you remove obstacles to their love, and what happens from personal experience is eventually you just can't keep up. Life will happen, stuff will happen, you will not be able to keep the scaffold up, and that person will either have to love you or they will have to not. And a lot of people can't handle it because they thought that loving you was one way, which was like a really easy, simple, delightful path. And love is not. Love is often hard. Not as in like hard as in like getting hurt all the time, but hard as in like people need help. People need support. People are human beings with unique dynamic personalities. And so I think for some of us, our scaffolding is crumbling because we're not who we used to be. And that's okay. And that's actually good. We do also have the Strength card. If you've been manifesting something, and this goes for all of us, it's going to be a smidge longer. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot longer. Like I said, I see a lot developing in like a month. The 16th new moon in Taurus feels real good. Later degrees of Taurus, loosely sextile Jupiter. Not really interconnecting with any of our more aggressive players. So I see a lot of really beautiful, good stuff happening then. Also, Venus will be in Gemini, so there's a fun, playful energy. So I don't think it's gonna be forever, but we do have to endure a bit more. We do have to find softness in a very difficult and harsh landscape. And, I encourage you to take your time at this time and to recognize that all things happen in their time. And I'll show you what's kind of peeking out from the deck like this. This is how it was sitting. But we do have the Ten of Pentacles. Good stuff is coming in. This year is crazy. I will say this. The best months, by the way, are going to be May and June and a little bit of July astrologically, and by best, better than what it has been. But there are good things coming in. I think a lot of us, because things have been so aggressive and harsh, are really having to buckle down and to be like, nope, I am manifesting the craziest, most unexpected shit because there's no other way this is going to happen. I also think, interestingly enough, I think it's partially our modern understanding, and this is me going on a rabbit trail. Sorry, guys, I just have to. Our understanding of modern luck, but I do think we've kind of let luck become this like amorphous idea that is kind of a stand in for privilege. We're like, oh, that person has good luck. And then you're like, you mean the person with like ancestral wealth and skin privilege and a healthy body? You mean that kind of luck? And I really think that Jupiter in Cancer has been like, luck is what you make it. Luck is, especially with all the Jupiter squares, luck is what you make it. Luck is what you do. I'm not saying bootstrap luck. No, I don't believe in bootstrap ideology, garbage. You have to be able to own a bootstrap to pull yourself up by the bootstrap, and a lot of people don't own a bootstrap because of society. So, garbage ideology. Anyways, I think it is like you you have to commit to luck. You have to believe that it's possible and tie yourself to the railroad ties of luck and be like, I'm here, I'm ready, come at me. And that's what I feel like this energy is, even within these moments where it's very Martian, is like, I dare the universe to give me good things. I dare the universe to go against the grain and to work with all of the energy I have put into this and to give me something beautiful. And while I do think we're kind of in the fight, in the thick of it, I think as we get into the summer, some of us are going to actually get some really nice stuff. And it is kind of, I don't know why I want to say begot from these really difficult astrological moments, these moments when we say, I'm not backing down. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry, scream, throw up, but I'm not going to stop in the pursuit of my dreams. I'm not going to stop in the pursuit of the things that I deserve. I'm not going to stop in the pursuit of love and connection and care. And I think that's what these moments are going to bring out: our resilience, our power, our strength, and also our delusion. Our ability to believe in spite of things, because Aries believes in the impossible. Aries believes that you will wake up and you will breathe through the night and you will move forward, which was, yes, a childhood fear that I would stop breathing in the night. Chiron. Aries is the sun rising. Aries is the flowers blooming in the spring. And so in these moments of darkness, in these difficult lunar moments and the difficulties of this new moon in Aries, we're really being asked to believe and to do the hard things, believing that it is going to get better. And, within this, that I think is the message. Also, I've been playing with the Lenormands, I've never called it that. Lenormand. I don't know what's gotten into me today, folks. Anyways, and I want to pull a couple for this. Oh, I love this. So we have the bird, we have the ship, and we have the dog. The bird is kind of one of those based on proximity to the person and how it plays out, because I'm not going to do a full Lenormand spread, but it is about good luck, but like good luck that is very specific to your circumstances and very specific to the effort and labor that you put in. So do not slack. Like I said, scream, cry, throw up, take naps, do what you need to do, but do not slack on continuing to believe in your desires, even in a time when things are going to be real nuts. especially like I'm not like necessarily a mundane astrologer. It's not my main focus. I dabble in it, but like the Saturn Mars conjunction is always the mundane world going crazy. Then we have the ship, which is good things coming, and like the things that we put out into the universe bring coming home to us and bringing us good things. And then we have the dog, which I love because it's companionship and like what I said earlier about finding family this year, finding connections, finding your soul tribe. I don't say soul tribe because I don't think we should use the term tribe when I'm on native land. Your soul group. Um, so no, is everything perfect? Do we have to put in some effort to get good things? Absolutely. Um, but we are going to be finding our people, and the stuff that the energy we put out in the world is going to come back to us. And that's kind of also what that Ten of Pentacles was screaming in my ear. Um, Now is the time to be brutal, bold, brave, the warrior. And warriors get mad and cry about stub toes too. You don't have to be like some brutal war god. Um, but also knowing that you are fighting for softness, you are fighting for ease, you are fighting for a life where you get to have belly laughs and cuddle up to the person you love and to have a family or home or whatever goodness and abundance means to you. But this is the time to be bold, brave, aggressive, free with your feelings. Um, because things are going to come in and things are going to shift. Just not visibly in this moment. Anyways, my dears, that is my rundown of the astrology for this new moon and the tarot. Um, I don't know, my brain just left the building. Oh, yes, please like and subscribe. It does a lot for me. I really enjoy it. It helps this channel grow. Um, I will, of course, I always have the week ahead video that I post on Saturday morning. I'm going to be doing candle wax readings on Tuesday going forward. And then I'm going to be doing I think this week I'll be doing a pick a card on Thursday for like some predictive hope because I feel especially this Thursday we could use a little bit of like good. And I don't know what the cards are going to be. Maybe it's not going to be good, but hopefully there's a message in there of like hope and inspiration because it is going to be a tough week. Anyways, also if there's ever a topic you would like me to talk on or a type of reading you would like me to do, you can always pop it in the comments. I love to hear it. I love to know, and I will very likely take that idea and run with it. But my loves, have a blessed new moon in Aries, and I will see you all later.